Well, that was something, wasn't it, YouTubers? For a chance to do April Fools. So that was fun, especially pertains to me not doing any of these reviews where it pertains to Impact Wrestling, AEW, and especially New Japan Pro Wrestling. And on top of that, just doing other type of videos as well. Just having fun as we go along with it and all that. It was a plan that I thought of in a way. I didn't really include the asylum of the plan itself. So, basically, when I did the editing of that video, of the whole my confessions to the asylum, and then put it out there, that's when and obviously I put it for premiere because once you put premiere, you can see on the YouTube page that if you're subscribed to me, or if you're not subscribed to me, and you see something that's premiere, it's getting ready to premiere on YouTube and all that, it will show that video is gonna be getting ready to be premiere on that's time schedule, the date of it, and that's when Christian Mr. Ricky 21 called in on it, and basically I let him know what was gonna be about, because when he saw that, he didn't know what it was gonna be about. Pertains to how it's going to be played out. So that's that. And then as we went along with it and all that, he didn't have enough time to do the things that he wanted to do, because he had plans to do something he wanted to do with the whole thing. What pertains to my confessions, these are my confessions, Usher. But unfortunately, he didn't have time for that and everything. And plus some other things that's going on with that basically threw his mind off, in a way. But either way, the way it was done too, it still could worked out any better, and I'm glad it did, and we had fun doing it. So, but yeah, not gonna talk much about that, because right now I want to get back right on track here, routines to doing what I love to do here on YouTube, and that's having fun and throwing some content in there, which is to pro wrestling, to pop culture, and to whatever have you as well. So, let that out of the way. Let's maybe first say this first before I get ready to start this review. Before I get to what review is going to be, which obviously you can already see the title of the video, what's going to be the review of it. But before I do get to that, no plugs whatsoever. Moving forward until I get everything done here, to catch up and everything, because that would be taking too much time and everything. And you already know how I feel about what it takes to doing the closing of the video, to stay well, stay safe and everything, all that. You already know the whole drill of that too as well, and all that. So I'm not gonna mention that either way either, because that could take too much time. But you already know that I'm that genuine guy. I'm a genuine decent guy to say those things either way. But this will not be one of those times. So because I wasted too much time as enough as it is. I need to catch up on these wrestling reviews that I need to get on this channel of mine, and moving forward from there. I got some things to do as well during the my birthday weekend, and there you go. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen on YouTube, it's the Natural Born Thrower, and welcome everyone to Impact Wrestling Review, the show from March 16th, 2021. This is the fallout of what happened at Impact Plus, pertains to Impact Sacrifice 2021. Coming off of the main event between Rich Swann and Moose, based on how the what's gonna be the winner take all, whether it's gonna face Kenny Omega at Rebellion, and obviously with Rich Swann becoming the champion. Not much to say about that, and also pertains to the New Japan tag teams of Finjuice becoming the tag team champions, being the Good Brothers. They start building up a lot of stuff they're going to build up for Rebellion, and pertains to the upcoming Impact Plus event as well, which that came out of nowhere too, by the way, which we're going to get to all of that right here, right now. So here we go. So, Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown were commentators at Nashville, Tennessee. The Skyway Studios, I think that's where it is, So the opening match was the new Impact World Tag Team Champions, Finjuice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson, taking on Triple XL, Ace Romero, and Larry D. And the match I thought was pretty decent opener, with the Tag Team Champions winning. It was not from the tag titles, obviously, but either way, Finjuice gets the win over Triple XL. after the match, the Good Brothers came out and made an excuse of why they lost the match and everything. And I'm like, here we go. A heel tag team, because they're on Impact Wrestling, the tag team champions, and they was making a goofy mockery of themselves about why they were tired and everything. And then on top of that, being on AW and everything, they got a pretty heavy schedule and all that, and all that and everything. And like, we can't just have Finn Juice just pat them, just beat them clean while the Good Brothers, pertains to them being a joke heel tag team to make an excuse of why they lost the tag belts. So stupid. So that was basically what it was. So basically, they want a rematch. That's the whole point of this whole thing. They want a rematch. Finn Juice will grant them a rematch, except for one thing. They have to wait until they come back later on April, because they will be going to back in Japan, which in the Japan Pro Wrestling, which that will be a coverage when I get a chance to catch up on that one too, folks. Pertains to the New Japan Cup and other things that happened as well. That's why they were there, back in New Japan. So the Good Brothers try to get the upper hand onto Finn Juice, but Finn Juice got out there and they're out. They're going to Japan, and we'll get to more of the Good Brothers later. So. Sami Callihan questions Trey Miguel's passion before they collide in the main event, which we'll get to when we get to it. And yeah, I'm going to say about that. Back to the Good Brothers. So they go to Scott Demoy, where it pertains to what's about the tag team champions going to Japan and everything. And the Scott Demoy said, well, guess you guys get your rematch, right? So April the 24th, which that's gonna be the new pay-per-view. That's been building up for quite a while now. Rebellion, and that's where they're gonna get the tag team title match against Finn Juice. So the rematch is all set and ready to go. So the Good Brothers, there's no complaint for there. So number to say about that. So they start leaving. All of a sudden, Tommy Dreamer comes into the locker room. So this is Tommy Dreamer's return after the assault that he had from Moose a couple of weeks ago. Which if like it was an attorney. But at the same time, it wasn't really much of a beatdown, because it wasn't that much of a beating when it pertains to the match itself, or it pertains to old school rules match and everything, where Moose just beats him and then didn't do anything after that when it pertains to post match. But Tom Dreamer is back now, and Tom Dreamer is basically questioning Scott Demoy about Finn Juice taking the tag belts to Japan, and I'm saying to myself, why is he upset with that? If anything, it benefits Impact Wrestling. Just like what the Good Brothers were doing when they were benefiting Impact Wrestling when they were the tag team champions going to AEW. So with Finn Juice being the tag team champions for Impact Wrestling, it benefits them as well, because they're working because they're in the working relationships back with New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is great. They are, because let's face it, this is what Impact Wrestling needs right now. They need that to get back on track, to be on the promotion that they once were when they were TNA Wrestling. So I don't understand this whole thing with this whole logic with Tom Dreamer at all when he mentioned that. So Scott Demoy said, it hasn't been easy for North and all that, especially with the wrestling company. And basically he wants Tom Dreamer to book the next Impact Plus event on April the 10th, by the way, which is gonna be next week. And basically next weekend, basically. And it's gonna be Hardcore Justice. Because Tommy Dreamer, who's the innovator of violence, knows a lot about Hardcore Justice, especially when Hardcore Justice they did back in 2010. Because originally it was just called Hard Justice, but then when the Easter Egg guys came in, which they at the time they were called EV2, Extreme Version 2. That's basically what they were, because they couldn't use ECW name because WWE fucking assholes owns right of that name. So basically, Scott Demoy says, you could come up with a lot of lists and everything, and Tom Dreamer's like, he got you covered, like, just like that, he's got it all covered now. So yeah, Tom Dreamer's gonna be booking that show, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna book himself in the match too somehow. I don't know how he's gonna do it, but he's probably gonna be in the match too at Hardcore Justice, which is fine, because Tom Dreamer is he's known to do these type of matches either way. Even though he's a former show of himself, and he's now a lot slower, and he's a lot more. He gained a lot more weight, but it is what it is, So there you go. So yeah, that's gonna be the and that's nothing to build up to, by the way. Hardcore Justice. And we'll get to more of that when we get to the next review of Impact Wrestling, which I'm assuming it was the next one that yeah, I think yeah actually it was, but we'll get to that. Rhino being accompanied by Fine by Design, which is Eric Young, Joe Doring, and Diener. Now that we got Rhino part of this whole group, can we just get rid of Diener, and then when when Heath comes back, he can join along with them? Because I really don't see Diener. I can't take him seriously, even to this day. With when they just added Rhino into the group now, I don't see Diener being violent. I don't see Diener being taken seriously in this group. He's just a body that's just gonna be jobbing for Vine by Design. That's how I see it. Diener in that position, in that role. I don't see him being elevated. I don't see him being exhibition champion. I don't see him being touching champion. I don't see him main eventing. So what's the point? What's the point of Diener? But Rhino goes up against Jake something, excuse me, being accompanied by James Storm and Chris Sabin. Match assault between Rhino and Jake something was decent. Obviously, you got some commotions outside the ring, obviously, because why not? It's gonna be chaos. In the end, it was Rhino getting the win over Jake something. After the match, the brawl continued as Vine by Design once again, are in control. And these are the factions right now that are taking over Impact Wrestling. And I love this faction. Except, again, Diener. He's the problem of this whole thing with Impact Wrestling, which pertains to this faction being taken seriously. Get Diener out of there. And when he comes back, have Heath become that heel to take Diener's place. So that in the way we got trying to have the Dieners back, but still pushes Jake something to be something in Impact Wrestling. No point in, by the way. Yeah, see right there? Jake something to be something. Tina Dashwood. She tries to name her tag team pertains to the 12 knockouts tag team champion. I mean the 12 knockouts tag team matches, excuse me. And I can't remember if I said at the time when I did the review of Sacrifice, it was gonna be a 6-woman tag team match, but it ends up being a 12 knockouts tag team match instead. Women's knockouts, that's where they are. Either way. Yeah, get my point. But she's trying to call them by Tina Dashwood and the Flowers, or I mean not the Flowers. I read it wrong. Excuse me. The Followers. Tina Dashwood and the Followers and everything. But they were all disagreement and everything. And then I think Susan may have said Team Justice, whatever, and I hate the character. I hate the character. I hate the character. But we'll get to the match later. We'll take some knockouts. Rohit Raju defeats Shira. And I'm going to skip that because I don't want to talk about that. William Mack, he congrats Rich Swann on becoming the Unified Impact and TNA World Champion, excuse me. And Rich Swann tells his friend that they're gonna be doing partying, but first he's got to take care of business and everything. So he gets into the ring to talk about the business that he had, addressing the whole thing with Happy Sacrifice of making history with Moose, but at the end coming out on top and becoming the TNA and Impact World Champion, double champion. And now his next step is a title versus title match at Rebellion against the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega in the winner take all. All of a sudden, Don Callis comes out to interrupt, who's the Invisible Man. Who is the Invisible Hand? Excuse me. Says that Rich Swann is biggest. He's basically saying that Rich Swann is Don Callis' biggest supporter coming into Impact Wrestling. To move where he moved on. But then he moved on, to say, with someone who's bigger and better, which is Kenny Omega. And basically describing how Rich Swann is taking credit for all of his success, claiming that he already written the history that will take place on the 24th of April for Rebellion. That's going to end with one-winged angel. Basically, he's in challenging good old JR Jim Ross of the whole Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold. That's basically what Don Callis was doing. Basically comparing Kenny Omega to being the Stone Cold, and himself as the good old JR Jim Ross of it. Yeah. But basically, let Rich Swann know about this whole thing. And Rich Swann looking dejected and all that as Don Callis leaves. And that was it. It's good. Build up more heat between Rich Swann and Kenny Omega. And we'll get to more of that when we get to the next review of Impact Wrestling. AEW owner Tony Khan and AEW commentator Tony Schiavone return for another paid advertisement for AEW Dynamite, or to St. Patrick's Day. Basically the theme of the St. Patrick's Day Slam, which we'll get to that when we get to it as well. Again, a lot of things I need to catch up when we get to everything happening for AEW, Impact Wrestling, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And also, we're up and coming soon, the return of my reviews for NWA, which is National Wrestling Alliance. It's back, which I love it. It's great. But we'll get to more of that when we get to it. But in this one, just another paid advertisement and all that, and not much to say. So there you go. Brian Myers, he tells Matt Cardona that he doesn't want him in Impact Wrestling because he wants to be successful on his own, and that's basically it. And it's going to lead to a match between those two eventually. Maybe a rebellion, who knows. Sorry about that. Next we get to the Knockouts 12 Knockouts, I should say, tag team match. I didn't like the booking of this match, folks. It made me not like the match at all. This was supposed to be only about Alicia Edwards versus Tina Dashwood. So to punish us viewers, to make this a lot worse, they included the rest of the knockouts. And I feel bad for Jordan Grace, Jazz, ODB, Havoc, and Nevaeh to be involved with this with annoying Alicia Edwards, who should just sit there and look pretty. Meanwhile, the Knockout Tag Team Champions, Fire and Flava, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. Kimberly, I'll get to her later on. And the Knockouts Champion, Deonna Purrazzo, had to suffocate themselves with the Susan character, who's trying to be the dollar store knockoff Cameron. And the annoying Team Dashwood being accompanied by Killable K, who's still wearing a neck brace, like he's got a damaged neck for life. Now back to Kimberly. Apparently Kimberly got hurt in this match. And I'm assuming it happened when they did some kind of all crazy dives outside the ring with a pile of bodies and all that. And I hated that part too, by the way, of the match. Basically, I hated the match. I did not like the match at all. In the end, it was the faces winning at the end of the day. Who got the pinfall? I don't know, and I really don't care. Oh yeah, I remember now. It was Jazz getting the win over Kimberly. And there you go. This gave Jazz an opportunity to face Deonna Purrazzo, which we'll get to when we get to it on the next review of Impact Wrestling. Gina Miller, she catches up with Ace Austin, her boyfriend. Which they really are a couple in real life, but on television they're not going to acknowledge that. So, but he talked about his match against JP. He beat him as a sacrifice to become the X Division champion. Chris Bay and Josh Alexander came out of nowhere. They wanted a shot, and TJP interrupted by basically skipping the line, and for good reason too, because he got his rematch clause for the next edition of it, which we'll get to when we get to it. And there you go. So, nothing to say about that. So, TJP gets his rematch against Ace Austin for the X Division title. And we'll get to that match when we get to it as well. Again, that'll be from the next one. So this one I'm going to be reviewing for the next Impact Wrestling show. On my next review, the X Division Championship rematch between TJP, facing the champion Ace Austin. The Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo versus Jazz, just a non-title match. And Eddie Edwards goes one-on-one with Carl Anderson, which I'll get to when we get to as well. So I need to talk about that too. Main event: Sami Callihan versus Trey Miguel. Good match. I love the back and forth, and I especially love how Sami Callihan dominated this match, showing that basically the story here is that Trey Miguel has no passion or anything, and then Trey Miguel did show some passion all of a sudden. And all of a sudden, referee was checking Sami Callihan because Sami Callihan was manipulating the referee, and Trey Miguel was like, "Yo, get out of the way, get out of the way!" And then all of a sudden, it was all a distraction for Sami Callihan to capitalize on it and gets him a sick package power driver for the win, and that was it. That was the main event, and that's how the show went there. And that will conclude your Impact Wrestling review, the show from March 16th, 2021. The Total Wrestling were 5 matches, and my overall strength for the show, I'm gonna go with a 6.5 out of 10. Decent show, not much to say about that, and that's all I gotta say for here, folks. Natural Born Thriller saying peace on the streets.